is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
Where can you drive the new 2025 Acura Integra for only $289 a month? There's just one place, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
It's big. It's gigantic. It's the Toyota of Hollywood Super Sale. Over 2,000 Toyotas from just $17,988. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,988. Buy with 0% financing, 0 down. Join the fun and get a super deal at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
When it comes to selling your home, efficiency is the best way, the less stress way. That's why Asmani Garcia and the Omega Home Realty Group is who you want to call. Sell your home for just $990. That's right, $990. No 6% commission. Asmani and Omega are the exclusive program director for just $990 in South Florida. Get full service real estate services like pro photos, beautiful brochures, Zillow and Alex, Realtor.com and Homes.com listings. Call Osmani to find out more at 305-440-1990. Scan the QR code or visit just990.com to get started. Omega Home Realty Group and Osmani Garcia are ready to present your home to thousands of prospective buyers. Call 305-440-1990. Call Osmani Garcia and tell him Big O sent you.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
Before you buy or lease a Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, or any other model, compare Subaru, rated #1 in safety at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy with 0.9% financing, 0 down. Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $259 a month. Crosstrek with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $239 a month. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, South Florida's #1 volume Subaru retailer.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help.
Where can you drive a new Acura ZDX for only $439 a month? There's just one place, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors and Custom Drywall can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray or Mike, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors and Custom Drywall, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Unless you're investing. But anyway, welcome aboard. We are ready to rock and roll. We got a loaded show today for you. We got, of course, the great Sean Stanley, because you can't get anywhere in life without Sean Stanley. Remember that, okay? So when you're packing up the things today to go out for a trip, you got everything, honey? Yeah. Sean Stanley? No, you can't go on your trip. You can't go. Sorry. Trying to prepare to go to work this morning. You got everything. You loaded up the car, put gas. Do you have Sean Stanley with you? You don't? Can't go to work. So, but we have it here on the show, so we win. Most of you don't. And, of course, the great Ira Winderman will join us today. Travel and all that, so we did it today on a Friday. And David Furones will stop by. Manny Navarro will stop by. So we will have a full load of folks stopping by. We'll take your questions, your comments, your insults, your compliments, if there's one, whatever it is. So we'll have some fun. The Heat last night, heartbreaker, man. Hell of a shot by JaMORON. I mean, listen, that dude's, his gun's always loaded, and he was ready. So what are you going to do? I mean, if he sees an alley, he's going to shoot it. And that's kind of the way JaMORON is. He shot his shot, and he, there you go. It happens, okay? The best player on the court ended up winning the game, but I was really proud of the Heat. I was really, 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 really proud of the Heat. The only thing where I cringed from that game was the two bunnies that Bam missed at the end of the game. Like, there was no excuse. The game is completely different if he hits those two bunnies. Right at the end of the game, I think he shot 11 of 26. He wasn't very efficient last night. But, I mean, it's all right. I mean, overall, they've played like lead guys, both Tyler and Bam. And then everybody else complimented them. Look, man, last night, it gets to a point where we're nitpicking, okay? These people have been through hell and back, and these young guys have come together, and they played a hell of a game yesterday, and they did everything they could to try to win. Like I said, the only thing I can walk away and say, damn, dude, if Bam could have hit those little bunnies on two possessions, he missed right around the rim, things that he should not be missing. And that would have changed what happened at the end right there. But outside of that, God bless them, bro. They played their asses off. They're playing like a team. They're fun to watch. You knew Memphis was desperate. This was a back-to-back coming off the road trip. It was going to be difficult for the Heat, and they played a hell of a game, and they showed me a lot of character, a lot of heart. I'm good, man. I'm good. I can live with that. I can. What I can't live with is the stuff we had before. The stuff that we've had to deal with for 2.5 years in the regular season. That's the stuff I can't deal with. Okay. but we've got a group of human beings that actually give a shit about playing, and they're giving effort constantly. I can do nothing but support and admire what they're doing and admire what those young guys did yesterday. And hey, man, they almost pulled it off again. And I can't ask for more, dude. I really can. I was really, really satisfied. Heartbroken at the end. My wife was like, damn it. She was like, she hates these games that come all the way down to the end, and she's like on the edge of her seat and all that. And so it sucked for them to lose. But I was like, hey, man, this is the team that bodes well for you here going into the playoffs. And so we'll see if they can sneak into the 8th spot or whatever. We'll find out over the next few games. We'll see what happens. But either way, you can end up in the 8th spot by getting out of the play-in and get to the 8th spot, and it is what it is. And that's it. And hopefully that's what happens. So that way we kind of end with a positive with these guys. But last night, I can never take that game as a negative last night. I was proud of the way those guys played, and they gave themselves a chance to win that game in a very difficult situation. Memphis was already resting at home here. So, I'm good with it, man. I'm good with it, and I'm really, really proud of what I've seen from all these guys. Okay, so I'm not one to go overboard on this one. I like what I saw last night. Proud of those kids. NorCal is in the house, I see. Gus 1388, Cosa Nostra, Jeff in Long Island. Says, thank you, Orlando, for sharing the job report for the month. Yep. Well, some good news, the job report. The tariffs were bad news. And then what are we down 1,000 points or something right now? It's not good. You know what is actually super impressive? The Dow is down 1,070 right now. What is impressive? You know what I'm going to say, right? You know what I'm going to say. Everything has taken monster hits, and Bitcoin has locked into 82, 83, 84. It's pretty impressive. It's at 83. And the Dow's down almost 1,100 points. So pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Anyway, so One-Eyed Jack I see is in the house. Thank you, sir. Dan the Film Gent. Alexis Palenzuela, Horn Dog, thank you. Juan Rosa. Don't forget, y'all, to smash the hell out of the like button. Very important to do that. All right. Gets the algorithms going. Other people will find out about the show so people can watch it later and download it later, or listen later, and all that good stuff. But whenever you're listening, whenever you're tuning in, day, nights, whatever it is, thank you. We appreciate it immensely. Just like I appreciate what I saw last night on the hardwood immensely. It's just really nice to be uncluttered. It's funny, last night's episode of Elsbeth was about a person who helps others unclutter their lives, right? It was the girl from Weeds. I forgot her name now. The skinny girl with the long hair. Forgot her name now. But anyway, she was the bad person in Elsbeth yesterday. I watched her with the wife. And it was about a person who unclutters people's lives. Well, it's interesting because this young Heat team has uncluttered their lives. And, it's pretty cool that, okay, you've uncluttered all the crap, the Jimmy Butler stuff, all of that. You got through everything. Everybody found out who they are, where they belong, what role they got to take. And everything's been really nice lately, And even last night in a loss, you can't say you weren't proud of that team and the way they played. Why? Because they were uncluttered, which is a beautiful thing. All right, let's get to our Miami Heat report with the one and only Ira Winderman and our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with Insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All right. How are you doing, Ira?
You know what? For someone who's going to wind up covering a team with a losing record this year, I'm actually doing sort of pretty good because it's weird. I have a better feeling about this team now with a losing record than some of the crap that went on with Jimmy Butler with a winning record. So I'd say all in all, keeping that perspective, the Heat are not in an awful place, even with having clinched their first losing record since 2018, 2019.
You know why? Because there's fucking direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. It's not that is he playing? Is he not? He's at the tennis tournament. Oh, he's on a horse. Oh, he wants more money. He's fighting with Pat Riley. And it doesn't allow anybody to grow. And so Bam and Tyler it really can't become their team because it's Wade's team, or it's Butler's team, or it's, you got veterans above them that they've got to answer to. Well, now like I just led in the segue, you've uncluttered your life of all the crap and all the bullshit. And now it's all settled. Now you know who you are and what you have to do. And everybody has embraced it and has taken a role, which is a beautiful thing. And dare I say, Bam and Tyler are playing like lead guys. I'm not saying they're number ones or anything like that, but they have assumed the responsibility that they have to come up with 50 points a night for them to be a base for their team. And so if you see anything as a fan, as a writer, whatever, there's actual direction. There's a method to the madness. And that was the problem the last 2.5 years, that Spo just had madness and there was no method to it. Now there's coaching and method to the madness.
You know what? I would equate it to this because you've been over along the radio spectrum for like decades now, and there are people you trust and feel comfortable with. Obviously, you're still working with Sean right now, and there have been people at your many stopped who you couldn't trust and you didn't feel comfortable coming to work. So right now, Jimmy Butler's gone. Terry Rozier's out of the rotation. You can see these guys, the level of comfort and trust they have together as an interlocking unit. Look, Big O, is it a perfect team? No, it's not. Is it a contending team? No, it's not. But does it have the potential to grow into more? Yes, it does. And that, again, goes back to what you always point about in our accurate Pembroke Pines reports about Eric Spoelstra finding a way. He has weeded out so much of the uncertainty. God bless Terry Rozier. He tries, didn't work. God bless Jaime Jaquez Jr. He tried, bad sophomore season, put it aside. Let's see if he can regain. And he's gotten this core right now of every guy he puts out on the court. You can say, I'll give you an example. Is Kyle Anderson among the best players on the Heat? No, he is not. Is Kyle Anderson a great player? No, he is not. But he's a reliable player. And when you put him out there,
fundamental player is what he is.
Unlike a Duncan Robinson, when all of a sudden other teams are seizing on him defensively, you can put Kyle Anderson out there. He will make plays for others. He will defend his position. He will not hurt you, allowing Tyler to thrive, allowing Bam to thrive. They found a nice combination. I almost wish, which again, I've been on the road so much, you think it'd be the opposite. I almost wish the season wasn't coming to an end. I would love to see another regular season month of this team. I'd say more than anything, the story of the Miami Heat of 2024-25 will be that the timing sucked. And I know you pointed it out right here in our accurate Pembroke Pines report. This offseason, they should have moved Jimmy Butler. Even before the previous extension, they should have moved Jimmy. Can't argue that now in hindsight. But I wish.
Hey, think about Shore and all these dudes back there. If they make a move a couple years ago and they get the 4 first-rounders, holy crap, dude! How good could the Heat be?
And I understand that, but Big O, I'm saying even if the Butler trade would have come in January instead of February, there would have been more of a runway up to where we are now. But because it came past the midpoint of the season, because it's a work in progress, because Andrew Wiggins has been injured, they haven't had that. Man, I'm telling you right now, this Heat team with one more month would have been directly into the playoffs, would have been battling Milwaukee, would have been battling Indiana, would have been battling Detroit. You know what the story of the Heat season is this year, Big O? They ran out of time. They simply ran out of time.
Yeah, they ran out of time. And by the way, to piggyback a little bit, while you're right about Duncan actually, if he can come back to this team now, he will be a perfect complement to all of these guys.
He's a specialist, yes.
The way the ball is moving, he will find open spots because others are hitting shots, because your two dudes, your number one guys, are actually assuming the responsibility of scoring. You know what I mean? So he actually would work a lot better now because of the way the ball is flowing, and because Mitchell will hit a three, and Pele Larson will hit a three, and Ware will hit a three, and then obviously Tyler is, stroking it and all that, So it's again, everybody has a role. That's why Kyle Anderson, can play his game. You know what I mean? It's really cool, and again, it's just beautiful to watch Eric Spoelstra, as always, dude.
Orchestrate, maestro, yes.
Yeah, just give him time, dude, and he'll figure everything out. But the problem is, whether it's Bumpgate or whether it's Whiteside or whether it's Butler or whatever, you're going to have, you're going to go through the Drake channel, okay? Even though cruise ships should not be going through the Drake channel, but they still do it. I don't know why, but anyway, the Drake channel is a pretty rough place. Well, unfortunately, we've had those Drake channel times for Eric Spoelstra, and this was one of them again this year. And time and time again, this man proves to you the waters may get rough, but eventually they all subside, and it's just smooth sailing because he's the best in the business, bro. And he proves this every single time, and I don't know how people even question this guy. It's really more about the moves that have been made, the personnel decisions. Those are the things that set him back. But if you give him 15 players that want to play basketball, like what you're watching now,
you give a crap, yes.
Yeah.
Even
the Scrubberinis, they gave a shit. And because they gave a shit, he got 31 and 10 out of them.
And not only that, but even these guys you thought were Scrubberinis, they developed Pelle Larsson into something. They found the niche for Alec Burks, and they found a right place and a right time for him. Davion Mitchell salvage. Didn't work with the Kings, didn't work with the Raptors, is working here. The shame of it is the Andrew Wiggins injury. And we thought we got past that with Jimmy Butler, and we didn't. And we still don't know. But based on the pedigree of Andrew Wiggins, you throw him into this group, I'm telling you, you got at least a 45-win team, not the team that looks like it could finish 40 and 42 instead, and that's a shame. But Jimmy Butler took a huge dump in the middle of the locker room and just walked right out of there, and this has been all about cleanup ever since.
Yeah. By the way, he got banged up yesterday. So
I don't know if I root for players to get injured, but I got to tell you, from a Heat perspective and a Heat fan perspective, you'd love to see the Warriors wind up in the play-in because, one, Jimmy Butler goes back to the play-in when he was trying to escape it, and two, there's a chance the Heat still wind up with a quality draft choice from the Warriors if they do struggle early. So there's certainly, as much as you're monitoring the Heat, monitor the Warriors as well, because if their pick is above number 10, it does go to the Heat. So it still could be a quality item there as well.
Isn't his nickname Play-In Jimmy? Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, anyway, let's by the way, how my boy Pelle Larsson. Okay. The last game, not the Boston game, he goes to the middle of the paint and he throws that bounce pass out to the 3-point line. Was it Davion Mitchell that hit the three?
I think it was, yeah.
And then they go to the timeout. Did you see Caron Butler? And you see his face approach like Pele, like, young man, young man, you're not supposed to make those kind of plays. You know what I mean?
I'll give you another moment when he starts talking down Jason Tatum. Second round picks at the end of that round don't talk down perennial all-stars, but he did and earned some respect with his defensive play when JT started that game at 1 of 10 from the field. Look, not a complete player, not a fully polished player, is going to get in foul trouble as he did yesterday because that's part of the over-aggressiveness. But there's something there to mold. Look at last year's draft. They got 2 picks in Khalil Ware and Pelle Larsson, and they are a far better team because of that. I almost can't wait to see what Adam Simon and Keith Askins and Eric Amsler and their scouting staff come up with, because for all your questions about your Dolphins, and I know you're going to do your ton of NFL draft shows coming up, and their uneven play when it comes to finding linemen and drafting and things like that, the Heat are on a heck of a run. I mean, yes, down year a little bit for Jaime Jaquez, but he showed something. Jovic was still waiting to come back from the broken hand. He showed something. They're on this nice little run, even getting Bam and Tyler at the end of the lottery when everyone wants a high lottery pick. So I'm almost curious what they're going to conjure up next from the Heat scouting wing.
Be careful that Jaime Jaquez doesn't become Pelle Larsson's backup. Because
he's that now. He's that now.
That's what I'm saying. The game is kind of like, okay, that's what you wanted from this guy, but you're actually getting it from this guy. So if he does wake up and give you some consistency, what he's going to find himself is backing up that guy.
Look, Big-O, athleticism trumps all in this league. Jaime Jaquez Jr. plays with wonderful guile and intelligence and footwork, and that's all well and good. But when you're under the basket and you got 3 7-foot guys in front of you, if you can't leap on his standing jump, not like his dunks, you wind up getting in trouble. Jaime Jaquez is going to have to adjust his game. He has his skill set that still could work, but he's going to have to change that. Pelle Larsson arrived. You know, look, let's face it. You look at a certain guy, you say he's not athletic, because let's face it, how many Swedish athletes do we know out there? But the bottom line is the kid is, and the Heat identified it. And one thing I like about that also, Big O, is this. Eric Spoelstra said something all season when asked about Pelle Larsson. He said, look, he's a role player. He was a role player in Arizona. He knows how to do that. You need role players in this league. And keep in mind one other thing that's very, very important. Pelle Larsson is the lowest paid player on the Miami Heat this season, will be the lowest paid player on the Miami Heat most likely next season because of his second-round draft status. Hey, when you can get value and productivity, it offsets the Terry Roziers. It offsets the contracts that arguably have been mistakes on there. So that's important also. You can make an argument that value per dollar, Pelle Larsson is absolutely up there with anyone on the Heat roster now as the team's lowest paid player.
Yeah. It's just the other thing that he has over Jaime, and it's not a knock on Jaime. It's just I love the way this kid's wired. He's relentless.
Correct.
And he doesn't give a shit who's in front of him, what situation he's in. There's a level of fearlessness in him that I don't see from normal young players, actually, because Jaime will second guess himself, will pause, this kid is 100 miles an hour.
Which is well and good when you're playing primarily as a reserve and limited minutes player. But if you want him to take the next step, Big O, he does have to cut down the fouls. He does have to cut down the fouls.
For now, as a second-round rookie.
Yes, for what he is.
Ira, it's leaps and bounds, dude. It's leaps and bounds. He's already on the moon, put it that way. As a second-round rookie, in my eyes, he's already on the moon.
And you know what? I'm going to interrupt you and I'm going to piss you off right now.
Now he's got to go with Elon to Mars and fix the fouls.
Or has he made himself another trade chip for Pat Riley? And I know you don't want to hear this. And I know, I know you don't. But you know what? The Heat have a wonderful assortment of possibilities to throw into a trade. Now, we've started our Accurate Pembroke Pines report today talking about we love the way this Heat team is being built. We talked about how they all give a crap. They're hustle players. They care. Losing hurts. Winning matters. And that's all well and good. But does Pat Riley say, all those whales I've been looking at that I couldn't get before, I now have 2 picks in this draft. I now have Larsson. I now have Jovic. I now have Ware. I now have more pieces to possibly put into play than ever before. I know where your vote is, Big O, and I can understand that. But what I'm saying is, Pat Riley can sit down at a table, and I'll give you an example. You asked me about this 3 weeks ago when it started as an internet rumor, and it's interesting. And the Heat aren't going to get to see him because, shockingly, he's shut down for this season. But when Zion Williamson becomes available this offseason, folks who were just listening on the podcast, we're getting the sour face from Big O right now, as if when Bitcoin takes a dip. But here's my question.
What was it called? Was it called Keystone beer or something? Bitter beer face?
Bitter beer face, exactly. But here's my question. What would you put into play for Zion Williamson?
Nothing of value whatsoever. And I'm not putting Pella Larson in there or Khalil Ware, because you watched the other day when Davion Mitchell made a play and he came off in a timeout, and him and Spo got that 5.
Right.
And Spo is now getting his team. And one of the elements that you need in order to be a Heat basketball team, and Keith Askins, as you talked about scouting, you don't have Pallel Ware playing defense and diving for basketballs, if you don't have Mitchell being a pest and a pain in the goddamn ass, if you don't have Khalil Ware blocking shots and getting rebounds or altering shots, these people are so important to what's been going on here. It's not just that Bam and Tyler are scoring and some of the other guys are complimenting. It's that all the other bullshit's getting done. They're setting the picks. They're winning the loose balls. They're doing all that kind of stuff. And I'll add a caveat to that. As much as Pat Riley has loved to get the stars, for the first time in the last year, I don't know when the hell he said it. You'll know better than I do. He said at one point, you do have to give up a whole bunch to get these guys, and then you don't have a team to put around them. So you are now building a team. You got a front office that knows how to freaking draft nowadays. Man, let's be a little bit more selective on those kind of things and not just go for any crazy move. Find the guy that is available, that is a Donovan Mitchell type, that he's not only a player, but he's a character. He's a professional. He's a person you want to model your franchise. Enough of these rehab guys that you're going after. It's just, dude, let's get back to going after the Alonzo Mournings of the world, the Dwayne Wades of the world. Let's get back to getting the character people that you used to bring in all the time. You're going after the Whitesides, and and the Jimmy Butler thing worked out better than you expected.
Right.
But it ended up becoming the imploding cigar that and so I just wish there'd be a happy medium here, because there's a lot of Heat basketball that's being played right now. So you've got to find that right balance where you don't want to just do the Denver Nugget thing for Melo, and then you're shit out of luck.
Well, this is what I would do. I would do both first-round picks in this year's draft, Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, and then to match salaries, Terry Rozier and Duncan Robinson. If they go for that, or at least use that as a starting point, I'd have to consider it, because I wouldn't be giving up core value. I would be giving up some draft assets, but I got plenty of young players in Ware and Larson to work around anyway, and even the G League kids who might produce something. That's where I would consider it. I would not give up Andrew Wiggins as the matching salary, because I'd rather have Andrew Wiggins than Zion Williamson at this point, because he'll fit better on my team. But that's the kind of deal I consider. I think the Heat can go to market with a pair of picks with Rozier and Duncan Robinson's contracts. No great loss there. I think you would agree. And then maybe have to give up on a Jaquez or a Jovic to get something more in return. I think that's the possibility. What I'm trying to say is this, to bring this full circle. The Heat have chips, the Heat have pieces, the Heat have parts, because they've developed them. Now they can choose whether to put them into play or not. So what I'm saying is, lottery season, losing record, but not really in that bad of a place overall.
No, because your draft class showed up. That's why. You know what I mean? And you got some mileage now out of the Jimmy Butler trade. You know what I mean? Obviously, you didn't maximize that trade at all. You couldn't. Where it was at, it was dead at that point. So you there was no way. You had to have more foresight, and you didn't, unfortunately, in that situation. But the draft class has saved their ass, dude. I mean, because those two kids have come in and have really added something. And then all you need to do is hope that they can grow, because damn, dude, it's been a really impressive, stretch by these guys. Last night, the only cringing moment for me last night was I wish Bam would have hit those two little bunnies at the end. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't efficient last night, but overall, I can't complain about Bam.
He plays very well against Jaren Jackson Jr. He always takes on that challenge.
No, I'm good with Bam, but I just wish I needed him to hit those two bunnies right at the end of the game, because those two possessions would have changed that whole thing with JaMORON right there at the end. And so that to me, that's where those were the little moments that I need, and I'm not asking Bam to become a number one. I'm just asking, there are moments where he needs to be a better, more efficient. And last night, those were easy shots that he should not be missing in those moments.
Don't disagree, but overall body of work, you have to live with him and move on. And his block shot during that sequence was immense to even position the Heat for the position for Wayne.
Yeah, like I said, it's just like the only little cringy thing, like, damn.
Nitpicking. Yes, but I agree.
It's just nitpicking. To play the way they played after that road trip on a back-to-back, it was outstanding. It was beautiful, dude. It was a fantastic performance, by the team, and they should be really, really happy about what's been going on there, overall. So, hey, listen, they still have a chance to catch Atlanta.
Or Orlando, if one of the two teams sweeps the two games they play against each other, this thing is still in play. I just hate the tanking crap going around the league where, yes, the Heat will get the Sixers, the Heat will get the Pelicans, but the Bulls and the Magic and the Hawks are getting teams that don't give a crap either, and the league has to do something about it, because no league tanks like the NBA tanks. It is absurd. You wind up playing a bunch of ushers and vendors on the court from the other team.
Yeah, I know. But listen, it goes full circle to what you kept saying throughout this whole thing. We just ran out of time, dude. And we had to get through this whole damn soap opera, and it was just, unfortunate. All right, so injury-wise, what do we have? What's the word on some of the guys? When are they going to come back?
Not giving us any update on Wiggins. As you know, Big O, hamstrings are very delicate, and you just don't know when players don't feel like themselves. But the fact is, if you don't get Andrew Wiggins back, you're not going anywhere. He's the other piece. God bless Alec Burks for filling in. He's not Andrew Wiggins. We saw Andrew Wiggins the last time out with a 42-point game, showing what he could be as a player. Damn, we need to see that for the last week of the season. You want to go into the playoffs having all of your having all your weapons so you can get to the playoffs. Because I got to tell you, if they get into a series of Cleveland, I'm not saying they're going to beat the number one seed, but they're going to throw a hell of a scare into them if they can get there. That would be really fun and really interesting.
By the way, people are tripping out with Anderson and because his slow play. And it's funny, that player has existed in this league forever, whether it's Adrian Dantley, old man Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson when he got older, Moses Malone was slow when he got older, all the players that, or in his case, if you're not as athletic or as you lose your athleticism, you learn to use your body. And it's funny because it looks awkward that a guy that's slower would still be able to do what he does. But that's just kind of the way it goes. And it's funny that if you've watched the game over time, that player has existed. It's just, it's okay. Like I said, like Adrian Dantley. Adrian Dantley was an old man game, but you weren't going to stop him from getting his possessions and his points. It's just good. But it's funny how people trip out with Anderson and his slow play.
We can all relate.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you, my brother.
Catch you next week in the middle of the play-in race on our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There we go. And can't wait for that, man. A couple games left. Hopefully they'll be able to get it done. And it would be pretty cool if they can sneak in to the 8th or 7th spot. That actually would be pretty cool. By the way, you can get electrified with the ZDX. We've got the Spring into Performance sales event going on right now at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. And the lease features right now, the ADX, $359 a month. It's been like that for a while. Take advantage. The ADX, by the way, beautiful, beautiful car, man. And of course, Acura, when it comes to Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume sales dealership. So get on out there. The 2025 Integra, you can get it for $339 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. That has not changed. Take advantage. How about the ZDX, $439 a month, 0% financing for 72 months. The RDX, $399 a month. They've got a special low financing rate for that. The MDX Tech, you can take $10,000 off the MSRP. It is amazing, dude. And one of the things you're going to love, and Larry does an amazing job at Acura Pembroke Pines, where they just have the lot overflowing constantly. You know, sometimes you go to some of these dealerships and they just don't have a selection. And you're like settling. And who the hell wants to settle? You want to get the car, you want the color, you want the style, you want the model, you want the price you want. And you want to go to Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. The Dow is down 1,419 points, dude. Damn. S&P's down 222 points. The NASDAQ is down 3 points. Bitcoin holding strong at 82,300, bro. Impressive as hell. Impressive. I mean, impressive. That is awesome. Awesome. Remember, folks, you can support the show many ways. Smash that like button whenever you're listening, watching, whatever it is, please. On YouTube or podcasting, please hit that like button. We'd really appreciate that. As always, you can also make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo, and you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation. And for those of you that want to support the platform outside the country, you can also make a donation through PayPal. The QR code is there. Sean Stanley will share it. And also, we are trying to go to España. So if you could help us, please. We want to get to Spain. We're not even close to it, but you can make a donation to help us get to Spain so we can cover the Dolphins that week. If there's one game we want to cover this year for the Dolphins, it's the one in Spain, because that might be this might not be a special season, but that game might be fun to watch, because apparently it's going to be the Dolphins and the Bengals is what the rumor is. So we'll do our show all week long at a Dolphins bar there in Spain, and we'll do our pre- and post-game show from there. So there's the QR code. If you can make the donation, we'd appreciate it immensely. True Fin Fan, thank you for the super chat, sir. His nickname is Poopy Pants James. No, but we could call him Playin' Jimmy. I mean, that's what he is. If Golden State ends up in the play-in, that'll be hilarious. So instead of, playoff Jimmy, play-in Jimmy. That's all. And yesterday he got injured and left the game and did not come back. For those of you that don't know, his little body may already start breaking down. Jimmy Butler with an injury scare last night against the Lakers. The Warriors forward Butler left the game Thursday at the Crypto.com arena with a potential left arm injury. The incident occurred halfway through the third quarter with 5:24 remaining, and Butler did not return to the game. He was later seen on the back of the bench with his left arm and hand wrapped. So In 24 minutes of play, by the way, he posted a robust 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Okay. Jimmy Butler has been in the locker room for a bit, according to Anthony Slater, beat writer. Was having issues with his left arm and hand area. The Warriors bench were just looking down the tunnel for him to go into the game. No sight of him yet. So there you go. And what else do we have? And no official update yet regarding Butler's availability against the Nuggets, because I think they play tonight, actually. Let me see if the Warriors play tonight. And by the way, last night against the Lakers, the Warriors ended up winning without Butler, 123-116. And let me see. The Warriors do play tonight against the Nuggets. It is tonight at 10 o'clock. Nuggets they're not playing great either. It's Jokic, and then can somebody help them? You know, that kind of stuff, because Jokic has been playing well. But the other guys, it's the team around them is not the same for Denver. But again, interesting. Back-to-back, Jimmy Butler injured. Anybody shocked there? Surprised that Butler got injured? By the way, David Furones will join us at 11. Manny Navarro will join us at 11:30. As much as I give Spo credit for being the best coach in the league and just a straight-up magician, we must give Riley credit for getting the players he knows Spo can develop. Yes and no, because, you know, there is Terry Rozier, and that's a Riley move. You know, so he hurts. It's the Tua McDaniel thing. Tua would be an even better quarterback with a much better coach, because he doesn't complement his quarterback or his team, period, his offensive unit. Well, in the last 10 years, Riley hasn't complimented Spo well, and Spo overcomes a lot of shit. You know, so that's the only thing, you know, that they've got to fine tune and become a little bit better with that. As a Warriors fan, Anderson was the only piece I miss in the Butler trade. Let's see, what else do we have? If the Heat ever thinks of going after Zion, shake my head. I know, I want nothing. I'm with you, Juan. I want nothing to do with Zion. I don't trust the guy. He's a bum. True Fin Fan, thank you again for the super chat, sir. Very nice of you. Am I wrong? I have no pity for Jimmy's injury. Oh, I have none either. I have none. I'm sorry, but I'm rooting as strong as I can against Jimmy Butler. He's a bad person, bro. He's a bad human being. Calais Campbell, he wanted out. I love how people are trying to spin it like, well, you know, the Dolphins weren't offering as much. Bro, the Dolphins knew he was gone. He didn't want to come back to this shit. But he handled it like a pro. Teron Armstead doesn't want to return to this shit either. And he's handled everything like a pro. And I root for Calais Campbell to have great success in Arizona. Why? Because he came here. He helped the Dolphins. He did his best. And then he moved on. And that was his right to move on. He's smart. Will he win at Arizona? I don't know. I doubt it. But I understand why he doesn't come back here. But he handled everything like a professional. So I have no ill will towards that. Jimmy Butler did everything to sabotage the Heat constantly. I have no sympathy for Jimmy Butler. So if he blows a shoulder or a knee, or he's out for the year, or shits his pants, I don't care, bro. I'm going to laugh at it. That's it. All right? Do unto others as they do unto you. All right? You want to be an asshole? Well, guess what? I'm going to be an asshole. Okay? And this asshole is rooting for everything bad for Jimmy Butler in a Warriors uniform. So be it. When I read that story this morning, I smiled. So be it. I'm with you, True Fin fan. I couldn't see enough bad shit happen to Jimmy Butler in a Warriors uniform. Okay? I'm not asking for anything personal to happen to the guy, but everything on a basketball sense, I hope it's the biggest utter failure in the world for him. So he can go enjoy his money, but on the basketball court, he'll realize that his best moments were right here with Miami. Just like LeBron James' best moments were right here in Miami. Okay? That's it. So you're not wrong. You're looking at it the way you want to look at it, just like I do. I don't like Jimmy Butler. I don't like what he stands for. That's all. Warriors going to let Jimmy go? No, they're not. They're tied to Jimmy for 2 more years. So they got to hope he can actually stay in one piece, which is impossible. The training staff and others in the Heat organization wanted nothing to do with Jimmy when he came back. That shows the guy was a total jerk. Yep, exactly. Yep. What else do we have here on the chat board for you all? All right. Let's get to our 3A Graphics Sports calendar and the amazing Alan Blanco and the great people at 3A Graphics. 786-618-1443. Grizz last night, heartbreaker. JaMORON with the shot as he beats the Heat with 0 seconds on the clock. 110 to 108. Very Alan. What is it? Alan. The one from the Knicks that the ball bounced around. Alan Henderson or Alan. What was his name, bro? Anyway. So Hero had 35 points last night in the loss. Bam added 26. Khalil Ware with 13, 15 rebounds, and 3 block shots. Saturday, they're taking on Milwaukee at the Kaseya Center, 8 o'clock. Panthers in action tomorrow night, 2 o'clock. Allen Houston. Saturday, 2 o'clock. Panthers at the Senators. There. Also Saturday, Fort Lauderdale United, baby. They're visiting Tampa Bay Sun FC at Riverfront Stadium. 7 o'clock for that one. You know what? I did look it up. I looked up to see if I can go to Burns Steakhouse, but they had no reservations at 5 o'clock. Because I would have driven up there, go with the wife, enjoy some Burns, go to the game, and then drive back. But no Burns. Sunday, 7 o'clock, Chase Stadium, Inter Miami, and Toronto. That is your 3A Graphics Sports calendar. All right. Thank you, Lenny Pena, for the Houston. Thank you. Thank you, Brian Landis. Appreciate you. Yes, Tommy, great stuff. We just talked about the Heat. It was good, man. It was good last night. Big O, I don't know, is it only me, but I think we are the only franchise that cried about losing a 17-year veteran not named Tom Brady. Are you talking about the Calais Campbell thing? I don't know why there's any crying, dude. He was never coming back here. I told you guys he was going to Baltimore, or if somebody gave the 40-year-old a bunch of money. That's the line I gave you about a week and a half ago, whatever it was. I told you guys, it's Baltimore, or if somebody wants to give him more money. And Arizona gave him more money, and he's gone. But he wasn't. The only way he comes back here is if nobody was interested. That's all. People don't want to be here. The ones that can get out are going to get out. Nobody wants to play for Mike McDaniel anymore. That's gone, dude. It's gone. So, whatever. Look, I get it, man. If you're a Dolphin-centric site, if you're a Dolphins writer, it's basically death to say ultra negative things like, yo, this season's done. Nobody wants to play for McDaniel. That guy was never coming back. There's a funk in that building right now that everybody knows what the inevitable is. But of course, you have to sell people hope. So, you know, if you're a Dolphin-centric writer or site or whatever, you're not going to keep them coming back because you're telling them it's going to be really bad. You know what I mean? But what am I going to tell you? You want me to lie to you? And, oh, we're so concerned about losing. Oh, we really needed Calais Campbell. I've seen those things. Oh, the loss of Calais Campbell and the veteran and the leadership and missing from the locker room. Brother, he was never coming back. Why are you acting surprised now? It's just, you know, whatever, man. It is what it is. But I guess people will learn the hard way. Hey, it's not going to stop me from watching the Dolphins. It's not going to stop me from rooting for the Dolphins and hoping I'm praying I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. You think I want another bad season? Because then that leads to a whole rebuild. Who the hell wants a rebuild, dude? I don't want another rebuild. I want Mike McDaniel to figure it out and Chris Greer to figure it out. And I want those guys to win a ton of games and win us a championship. But I've seen this story before. And I'm looking and the coach just, you know, he's just not it. So what can I tell you? That shot last night took me right back to the 99 playoffs. The ball took forever to fall through the hoop. Still hurts to this day, despite the championships we've won since. Yeah, that ball, it hurt yesterday. Me and the wife were like, we were hurting last night. We were hurting last night on that one. What else do we have here? I think the only thing that'll save McDaniel this year would be an AFC champ. No, Lenny. I think if he gets to the playoffs and he wins, that saves him. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They win just one game in the playoffs, and there's no doubt in my mind that saves him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That saves him for sure. Yeah, it should save everybody because it hasn't been done in a quarter century. So, yeah, that's what you want. That you can't ask for more than that when this guy ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? For McDaniel to get to the playoffs and win a game, that would be one hell of an accomplishment for a guy that can't even get his players lined up properly. For a guy that can't get even the play in on time properly. For a guy that can't win a challenge. For a guy that, for the life of him, cannot figure out how to get a big receiver involved in the offense. We're going to try now in year 4. It took him 3 years to get a tight end involved in the offense. This is a slow character. Okay? Staley embarrasses him with the Chargers 3 years ago, and then it took him a whole year to, figure out Brandon Staley and then win. Not a quarter or a series or a half. No. An entire year. Mike McDaniel is a special kind of slow. So if McDaniel can produce a winning season, which gets you into the playoffs, and he wins a playoff game, I think that saves his job easily. Easily. Because there is no part of me in my mind that believes that that guy can actually do that. So if he does that, I think it would be the shock of all shocks. And there's no way that Stephen Ross, after all of that, he gets over the hump and does something that, prior ownership had trouble doing. Yeah, I would say they easily keep him. Okay? Easily. Marino Castillo, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Says, thanks, Big O. Yes, I was talking about Calais. My point is that it's pity to cry for Calais, 17-year veteran, when this team was supposed to be in a much better position. Yeah. We're a sad bunch as a fan base, dude. We just are. We're a sad bunch, and we're desperate, and it's just kind of who we are, and it's pathetic that we're worried about a 17-year veteran that really isn't going to save the season. Did he save it last year? And this year's team is probably not going to be better than last year's team. So what's he saving? And the overreaction from it's just kind of funny for people to put that much weight on it. And to also think that there's any chance that he was actually coming back. The only way he comes back here, like I told you, if nobody wanted him. And that's impossible. So it's just, we're a sad bunch. We are. Would you say that McDaniel's learning speed in the animal world would be a sloth? Yeah. But is the sloth really learning, or is it that the sloth is just slow? It knows what it wants to do, but it's slow. This guy doesn't know what he wants to do. And he's slow. So, yeah, it's not Mike Slow-Mo. I like it. Federal prosecutors in New York filed their third superseding indictment against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Boy. That dude is going to definitely rot in jail or be killed or something like that. That is going to be an ugly situation. There's no doubt about that. By the way, do want to remind you, my guy, Osmani Garcia, man, listen, are you looking to sell your home? Okay? Right now, we want you to call because Osmani Garcia can sell your home in 30 days, guaranteed, and he guarantees it by action, folks. Okay? Osmani Garcia and Omega Realty Group, changing the game, and that's what it's all about, baby. He's guaranteeing to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it himself. No excuses, no delays, no fine print games. And this is real, folks. And if you're serious about selling, and there are folks here in Florida, and by the way, he's got the 990 program, but he can help you sell. Call him at 305-440-1990, and trust me, you will see results. This man works hard. Okay, I've known Osmani for 15 years. He's a great human being. Osmani Garcia, the home of the 30-day sale guaranteed, or guaranteed, backed by action, folks. Call right now. Don't wait. Restrictions do apply. Call my guy, Osmani Garcia, 305-440-1990. All right. Good morning, Miles Deep. Hope you're doing well, my brother. Thank you, sir. Thank you all out there for tuning in, as always. By the way, I was watching it. I just fill me in on this. Help me out as fans out there on this. Like, I'm watching. I saw this thread on X, and it's about watching today's Colorado Pro Day. And for the life of me, I just wonder, why do you want to watch a Pro Day? What's it going to do for you as a fan? Not exactly sure, because I find it boring as hell. I went to the Combine for years. And I will admit, the first couple of years, I kind of like put some emphasis on some of the stuff. And then eventually I just tabled it all and I realized it was all bullshit. And so for years, I've never even worried about it. I go there to go talk to the agents or whatever and personnel people and all that. The 40 times don't mean anything. So I just wonder, what is it about fans? Why are you dying to see a Pro Day? What are you going to get out of the Pro Day? All of a sudden, you're going to think that this draft pick is the guy to get because he had a great shuttle run? I wonder why fans clamor so much for Pro Days. It's just the weirdest thing, dude. Like it has nothing to do with it. All these teams, it's the game film. After that, it's the medicals and then the IQ. And then obviously any track record of stupid things. But their 40 time and all, that's not going to affect anything in their decision. So it's just funny to me how fans are dying to see a Pro Day. Just weird, man. Big O, what's your opinion on JaMORON? Guy showed no class last night, pushed Burks out of frustration, got a tech. I mean, he kind of is what he is. What are you going to do? Kids, but he can play. So remember, they will tolerate you. They will tolerate you as long as the talent outweighs the baggage. They will deal with it. And in Memphis, they will deal with it. But eventually, if the baggage outweighs the talent, then that's when they start to get rid of you. All right, let's go. Hour number 2 is next. We switch gears. Let's talk a little Dolphins football with the one and only David Furones and our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welt and Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right. So are fans that heartbroken about Calais Campbell?
Are fans not? I think they should be. That's a huge loss. That's a crushing blow to the Dolphins in 2025 from the standpoint of the defensive line, what he proved he can still do last season. And then the bigger thing is the leadership for a team that is largely, I don't want to say void of it, because there are still some guys who bring that presence to the locker room. But there's also some big personalities that strongly counter it and bring the leadership level down, like a Tyreek Hill. But having Calais Campbell in that locker room, that was a huge gain for what it could have been last season. It could have really been, I mean, the season was a disaster for all intents and purposes, but it could have really gone awry, like way downhill, if you didn't have a presence like Calais Campbell in there, where he was really one of the only guys that was truly being an adult professional in the locker room. So from a leadership standpoint, an immense loss. And boy, I was surprised it was the Cardinals, not the Baltimore Ravens. You know, we had already had it as a foregone conclusion he was gone. I was thinking Ravens if he were to go, but the Cardinals swoop right in and he goes back to where it started for him in the NFL career.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because it was the Ravens, or if somebody offered him a bunch of money, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But my point, and I said it last week, I said, and the week before, he's going to the Ravens, or if somebody offers a 40-year-old a lot of money, and that's exactly what the Cardinals did, and that's where he went. But he was never coming back here unless nobody was interested. And that's really, to me, that's the bigger point here. We're misleading Dolphin Nation, okay? Because Calais Campbell wanted out. He's just really decent about it. He's not going to do it the Jimmy Butler way. He's going to do it like a decent human being. He's going to be professional about it. And it's just going to look like he doesn't want to be a part of it in a way, but it'll be in a professional manner, like he wanted to go exercise his free agent right. And that's because they know that in that building, they knew he wasn't coming back. I don't know who you talked to, but they knew he wasn't coming back. So why is it a surprise? I'm not exactly sure. That's the part I don't understand, because there's no surprise here on this show, yet we are feeding the public like they should be surprised. And that's...
No, I'm saying surprise from the standpoint that it was the Cardinals. I always had it being the Ravens. That's my own surprise. But yeah, you're right, with the caveat of if another team offered him a bunch of money, because let's just say, it should be, this is his last dance, right? So it's a great story. Number one, he goes back to where it started, and that he made a Super Bowl in his first professional season after coming out as a standout at the University of Miami, gets drafted in 2008 to the Cardinals. They go to the Super Bowl, make a surprise run that year when no one had them doing much. And that was a really cool team with Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden, Kurt Warner throwing them the ball. And Calais Campbell, as a rookie on the defensive side, got over there and played a great game against those Steelers, but ultimately lost with Antonio Holmes making that catch in the end zone. But just a cool story that he goes back to where it started for him, where he had a lengthy early part of his career. And you're right, if it's his last dance, then that's his final opportunity to make that NFL money. But from the standpoint of the Dolphins, first, it was telling when at the end of the season he was looking for that release if the Dolphins were eliminated. So he was still looking for a way out at that point, but doing it in a professional manner where he's not going to do it until the team is eliminated. Now, it was the worst case scenario there where they remained alive until week 18, and then so he's got to stay at that point. But then once he plays in week 18, he can't just go to a playoff team once he finishes the regular season, unfortunately for him. So it was just the worst case scenario where the Dolphins stayed alive, but they didn't control their own destiny, and they needed the Broncos to lose, and the Chiefs were resting all their players and not even putting up a fight. And that game was over really quickly as the Dolphins started to just go downhill against the Jets as their playoff fate was being sealed, or lack of playoff fate was being sealed. So, but I do give Calais. So on this standpoint, when the trade deadline was going on and the Ravens were making a move trying to land him and make an offer, then it was Calais saying that okay, he's convinced that the Dolphins could make a turnaround mid-season and still go for it. He wanted to play out the season the way it went, but it was telling that then at the end, yes, he did want a way out in the case, in the scenario where the Dolphins were eliminated.
It's just I'm listening. I'm happy for him. He was a pros pro here. He was great for them. It's just sad that they couldn't maximize it. And I think if you win 11 or 12 games last year, and if you get to the playoffs and maybe even win a game, I think this whole thing changes and people want to be a part of it. I all throughout the offseason, what I've seen is a disconnect. Is what it seems like Javon Holland, even though they weren't going to sign him to a long-term contract, he was more than happy to move on and turn the page from this place. Whether Reggie McKenzie, you can say he wanted to, go back to his hometown and all of that. But yeah, he could go back to that job next year and the year after to be a consultant in his hometown. They'll hire him at that time. If he thought they were going to win here, and they were going to have he would have stuck around. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you can tell from talking to some of the people, from some of the changes that are going on, you can kind of tell that there is I hate to say it, but it's kind of like a dark cloud that's kind of moving in over the organization for this season. And then on top of that, a lot of the fan base, there's not a lot of expectations. Media, I don't know where you stand, but I don't expect much from this team. I think this team's going to struggle to be right around the 500, like always. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of expectations. So I'm not sure if you sense it or feel it or see it, but that's kind of the way I see it right now. It's just kind of like a really dark cloud that's moving over the organization in the 25 season.
Yeah, Big O, it kind of feels like that window where you thought this core could compete has come and gone, and you saw the end of it, and then now it's really going to be, with 10 draft picks, a youth movement, and without a sexy free agent signing, with that, it's kind of like it's going to be some turnover. You still have some of the veteran pieces because you signed them to long-term deals, and they got their money. So yes, Tyreek Hill is still there. Jalen Ramsey on the defensive side, Jalen Waddle you signed to a long-term contract, Tua is locked in. But now when you have some of these core, with Zach Sealer, of course, but when you have these core players like Calais Campbell now moving on, as he came here to compete for a Super Bowl in one of what was expected to be one of his last seasons at least. And, it was a cool story to go back to where he played his college football at the University of Miami, to play for the professional team, which he had never done in Miami. Then after they had just had an 11-6 season, and you had all these excuses or reasons why, okay, half the defense was out, they collapsed at the end. If that doesn't happen, you could see how they could maybe last year get back to it. Even without a Christian Wilkins, without a Robert Hunt, Andrew Van Ginkel, and so on. But it didn't play out that way. And then now it's kind of like, all right, now maybe that was the peak where they were in 2023. And then now it starts to decline, beginning with this last season, which still could have gone differently if Tua was healthy. And that's sort of like the one little saving grace that you still wonder, okay, if Tua has a healthy season like he did in 2023, could they get back to that 11-win range and be a solidified playoff team instead of hovering around 500, trying to get in, hoping for help in week 18, and then ultimately just falling flat and not making the playoffs? It could very well just go the same way last season went.
I mean, right now, be honest with yourself. Be honest with the crowd out there. Let's just say the draft produces one or two guys that are impactful, okay? And then the other guys might be some, serviceable or young players that you can build on for the future. But it's hard to imagine 4 or 5 guys becoming instant starter and super impacts. And that would really, catapult the Dolphins. That would be awesome. I hope it happens. But it's unrealistic to put that much pressure on the draft. But let's say 2 guys come out of the draft right away that help you make an impact. Where is this? Do you see a playoff team next year? Honestly.
I see a team that's probably just hovering around 500, and it's going to be like a playoff scenarios type of thing. You know how there's like 5 teams still in it some years in that final week? It's like they maybe need some help and maybe get the 7 seed, but I don't see them like as a just surefire, you're getting into the playoffs, you know, like all right, Buffalo's going to control the AFC East.
You're saying we're Motley Crue. It's the same old situation. It's the same old ball and chain, right? That's exactly it. We're the middling team. We're either good enough to beat the bad teams or barely good enough to just get it. Is that what you're telling me again?
Beautiful voice, Big O. I thought you only had a voice for sports talk radio and podcasting, but my goodness, you got some pipes you could sing.
There we go. A little Vince Neil for you right there. So yeah.
But that's exactly right, though, Big O. I mean, it's hard to find a scenario where you're back to really all right, because Buffalo's going to control the AFC East. You already know you're not winning the division, but it's hard to envision a scenario where they are like locked in, like can clinch a playoff spot with a couple of weeks remaining, be that either 5 seed or maybe if there's another strong wild card, be a 6 seed, but one that could actually compete and go on the road. It's hard to envision that level of a rise when your best shot at it in 2023, when the Bills actually struggled and when you were actually 3 games up on them with 5 weeks remaining and you had it essentially, I mean, like those odds makers sites had it at 99% chance of the Dolphins winning the division, and you blew that opportunity. That was the best shot. And then now it's highly unlikely that you get back to that. It's kind of like, yeah, they might be like, hoping for 9-8. And then it's, if another team loses in week 18, you could get in. They might be alive going into week 18 and then need some help. I feel like it's going to be another season with one of those scenarios going into the finale, wherever that may be.
Yeah, that's the sad part. All right, so as we get closer and we get closer to the draft, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of little draft shows coming up soon as we get a little closer. Where are you at now at 13? Are you going guard, tackle, whatever, or defensive tackle? What's where you leaning to?
I'm still leaning to the O-line because you still need another starter at guard. But if it's one of those, see, I always say these top 3, the truly tackles, but they possess the positional versatility where they can start off at guard. So Armand Membo, number 1 out of Missouri, but I think he'll be gone now. If Will Campbell is there out of LSU, but he might be the second one. So I kind of look at Texas's Kelvin Banks. If he's there, then Texas runs a very similar offense, runs the zone blocking scheme. And I've heard from one of their players actually who was training locally how they actually took some plays from the Dolphins themselves. And then I still think back to how Mike McDaniel was at the Xavier Worthy Pro Day last year, and there were all those viral shots. And I start to think all these connections and think if Kelvin Banks is there, who is a true tackle, but could comfortably probably start off at guard, maybe in a similar vein of Laramie Tunsil when he started off with the Dolphins, then that could be something that would appeal to me. But I would not be mad if one of those top defensive tackles. Now, I don't think Mason Graham's going to be there. He's probably going to be gone. But if it's Walter Nolan, maybe because he kind of goes in that range and is that quality of a player, or the Michigan cornerback Will Johnson, who I previously called Will Campbell, but that's the offensive lineman. But Will Johnson would be quite a home run pick, where these guys could be considered best player available, which is how Greer is going to view the draft, and would at the same time fill positional needs. The Dolphins could use a cornerback after they release Kendall Fuller. They need to add young depth to the defensive line and offensive line. There's obviously still a starting spot there to be won, while they just need good blockers overall that fit the scheme.
All right, I gotta ask it because I have no choice, and people love this shit. But at the same time, guards can be found and defensive tackles can be found second, and then third round. This is kind of draft where maybe you might be able to even get a defensive tackle in the third round, actually. And defensive tackles have a tendency of actually good ones have developed many over the years in the later rounds, in the middle rounds. Okay, well we have Paul Soliai here, who was a 5th rounder, and he was a heck of a player, overall. So you can find guys. So all the Jackson Dart hype out there, and some like him, some don't. There's no doubt he's got NFL ability. Okay, there's no doubt. So if you're the Dolphins, and if there happens to be a market, and I don't know how you feel about it, if there's a market for the kid, if you're the Dolphins, do you explore? This is not a Tua thing. I'm talking about drafting to trade Dart. How much of that is reality? How much of it is rumor? How much of it is unrealistic because maybe you think he's going to be gone now or something along those lines? So talk to me about that option, because that might be something that they could turn into extra capital.
You're saying at 13?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wouldn't see this scenario where they draft him and then trade him on the back end, but I could see, all right, let's say Cam Ward's number 1 and Shedeur Sanders also goes somewhere else high. And then another quarterback needy team is targeting Jackson Dart. I would trade the pick more so if let's say if he's still available at 13. If I'm the Dolphins, sure, I go and make some phone calls and see if those quarterback needy teams are looking at Jackson Dart and that hype and saying, okay, let's get him now, because we've seen how undrafted quarterbacks can just skyrocket up there. Like last year, it was 6 in the first 12 picks, and a lot of those guys people thought maybe end of the first, maybe going into the second, and then all of a sudden, you had Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix all gone by pick number 12. So I could see a sort of like draft day catapult for Jackson Dart. But if I'm the Dolphins, I would maybe trade the pick and then move, whether it's moving back in the first round so that whoever that team is, they want to go and grab them at that spot, and then maybe add some capital, get another second rounder out of it, so that then you can maybe, because all right, if you're talking about 2 impactful players in a 10 draft class, if you had 3 picks in the second round, you could start venturing into the possibilities of, all right, we can now maybe get 3 impactful players. That's another shot at a quality immediate starter who can be a long time a player of value for the franchise. So and just because sometimes you're going to miss on these picks, if you have more shots at it, then you're going to hit on some of these. So I would like that scenario, especially since they have options and different holes to fill, where you could trade back and then maybe take Gray Zabel later in the first round, because he's a guy who I love, but it's just I don't see it where you would take him as high as 13. Maybe once a few more linemen are off the board, you can take him, but he's a guy who could play any position and could fit into the scheme. So I would love him in a trade back scenario.
Now back to the guard thing. I hear people or read when people say, "Oh, you can't take a guard at 13; it's too high." You got to take him at 18 or 25 or something. Trade down. That's the same bullshit we kept saying about Rob Hunt, and we were all wrong. You can't pay a guard 20 million. Well, now guards go for 20 million. The good ones are going for 20 million. It's just that Rob Hunt started it, but a really good guard was going to get 20 million, because that's where we were going, whether you like it or not. And so if you have conviction on a guy that is a tackle guard or whatever, or just a pure guard, but if the guy is going to be a hell of a player for you, who gives a shit? You can't take the chance of trading down to 18 or 23 or something and say, no, he'll be there, and then he's gone and you're screwed. Screw that, bro. If the guy can play and you think you're going to put him in right now at left guard, and he's going to be your starter and he's going to kick ass, then he's going to be a great pick at 13. It doesn't matter if his grade is 18 or 21. Take the damn guy if the guy is worthy of it. Does that thinking have to change a little bit from from teams to the rest of us.
Well, I still see, because Chris Greer, he still values those premium positions, right? So I still think he wouldn't view guard as a premium position. Now, maybe a lot of some NFL folks are, because that's why you're seeing these guards go for that much money. Like when I asked the Panthers coach Dave Canales at last year's owners meetings, which I just came back from this year, about making Robert Hunt a $100 million guard, and he was talking about building from the inside out, that he sees that as something of value, instead of like you would traditionally think, all right, get your tackles in line on the defensive line or for your defensive front, you get your edge rushers first. But, just now the way we're seeing that Rob Hunt scenario, the Christian Wilkins, and how much defensive tackles are also making compared to the edge rushers. Yeah, you are starting to see some of that, okay, like the interior really being emphasized. So I could see, but so this is why I can still see it where it's someone who fits as a starting guard to begin with in their career, but that long-term, the plan might be tackle, whether it's eventually, if it's Austin Jackson or Patrick Paul's spot, if he doesn't work out, he's still gonna be a little unproven and still developing as someone who was raw last year, where at least you have some more competition. You're hedging your bet a little bit, where you have another solid player who can play tackle, or if his long-term prospects are a guard, then so be it. Great, fantastic. Especially if the other two are doing a great job at tackles, then that's a problem you would love to have. So that's why I still like that it's a guard, but who has the positional versatility to play tackle.
Right.
But I wouldn't go with the pure guard like a Tyler Booker, who, as we've mentioned on the show, kind of like is more of like in a phone booth type blocker. I think you want that athleticism in Mike McDaniel's offense.
Yeah. I don't like Booker for this system whatsoever. I think Booker can play in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be great for some team.
Yeah. But it has to be a different, not this scheme. This scheme, he doesn't fit this. He doesn't have the athleticism to do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, it doesn't mean he's not a good player and he's worthy of being picked. Fuck yeah. But you not for the Dolphins. He just doesn't fit. But yeah, it's just, to me, Zach Martin turned out to be a hell of a player for the Dallas Cowboys. Who gives a shit, dude? If the guy can ball, take him at 13. And if he happens to be a tackle, which is probably what you're doing anyways, at that spot, the guys that were, except for Membo is really more of a guard. He's really not a tackle, right?
Tackle, probably. I think most people consider him as a tackle. The first true guard on people's boards is Tyler Booker, but he's a guy who can play guard as well. So,
but the Membo kid is being kind of looked at like most people are looking at him like a mauling guard. Like, right? Aren't they looking at him like, whoa, this guy, like he can play tackle, but like all these guys, all the top guys that we've been talking about there, they all play tackle, but a lot of people are like looking at Membo like this guy could be like a nasty ass guard. I'm just saying.
No, he could do both, but I think people see him as still tackle first, but who can play guard.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's interesting. I love that kid. I like a Zach Martin type. That's how I see him. I see like a guy that he can play tackle. Rob Hunt could play tackle.
Rob Hunt started off as a tackle.
Right. Well, yeah, but he was mostly a guard for what is it, the Ragin' Cajuns or whatever the hell his team was named.
Yeah, Louisiana. Was it Louisiana Lafayette or Louisiana Monroe? Lafayette, right? I can't get it wrong now. I love Robert Hunt too much.
He played some left tackle there and everything, but he was mostly a guard there, right? But he had tackle ability. But there are some of those guys that you look at, and Membu is one of those guys that, he can play tackle. There's no doubt. But, man, you look at him, and it's like, bro, this guy could be a guard that will just be, And for Miami, that's what they need. I don't have a problem with taking a guy that's a tackle, but you're going to play him at guard. I just, some people worry about that. I just don't worry about that at all. If the guy can play ball, that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw the value of guards last year with the Robert Jones, Liam Eichenberg combination and what you got out of that offensive line. So the loss of Robert Hunt was definitely felt for the Dolphins last year. And for Hunt, yes, I think they go by Louisiana now. But yes, the Ragin' Cajuns. But it's
what it was? Okay,
the one at Lafayette. Yes, the Ragin' Cajuns.
Right. That was his team.
One of the
right?
best names.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. Where are you with Patrick Paul? Because there are some people that aren't necessarily convinced, and I get it because he hasn't played enough, but I'm not one of those guys that says you got to try to go. That's why I wasn't big on bringing back Teron anyways, even though I don't think he's going to sacrifice his body for these people anymore. But to me, you've got to turn the page, and Patrick Paul better be a good player because that's what you drafted him for. He better be your starting left tackle. Are you viewing it that way, or are you kind of worried about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, you got to have some worry just because we haven't seen it yet. And we do know he was a project and a little bit raw coming out of Houston last season in the draft. So, you drafted him knowing you had Teron Armstead last season, but that he would have a year to develop and sit behind him and learn from one of the best teachers and a 5-time Pro Bowler in Teron Armstead, with the opportunity that, as can happen and has happened for Armstead, that he would get hurt, and then that in those situations, Paul could get some playing time, but just not knowing when he's going to get those reps and when he's going to be a starter. So I think that's why this offseason's development is so key for him. I'd just be guessing right now because the last thing we have is just the end of last season. So I'd still be guessing. I want to see how he comes out in OTAs and minicamp. I think that's one thing that is really what we're going to focus on, and what can come out of that is watching his reps and seeing the strides that he made from year 1 to year 2. But everything I hear is that he is in that building and really committed to the craft. I tell you, just his personality is one that I would bet on, because I do feel it's so important to him, and that he carries the right mindset where he is going to put everything he can, invest everything he has into his craft and go about it. So that's one thing I'm really going to be looking for in OTAs and minicamp, is when we start seeing those on the field reps, how much he has improved. And if you're starting to see signs that he is someone who can be counted on in year 2 as a starting left tackle in the pros.
All right. What do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I was just writing about what did I do yesterday? Shoot, I'm already forgetting. What are the Dolphins doing at defensive tackle and cornerback? That's what I wrote coming off of the news, of course, that Calais Campbell is moving on now that it was official. Although everyone can see the writing on the wall, so those are sort of the two big spots still: defensive tackle and that corner. There's the possibilities of it, if it's some Cam Smith, Storm Duck competition, but if they could get someone in there in the draft. And so aside from guard, which has just been belabored at this point, then those two spots, which have really just been not addressed yet this offseason. And just having a weekend before we start getting into a month of real draft prep before the draft and the end of the month. So we'll have a series of different positional looks at the draft. Myself and Chris Perkins, he'll break down the positions, the players at different positions in the draft. I'll break down the Dolphins' perspective on those positions and what we could be thinking. And maybe at some point we're going to get some Teron Armstead news soon. So I'm on the lookout for that.
Yeah, he'll be announcing his retirement soon. All right, good stuff there. And don't look,
right?
Yeah, don't look at your
consistent with Calais Campbell and all that.
Yeah, and by the way, don't look at your 401k because the Dow is down 1,371 points. So hang in there. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. And of course, if you need lawyers you can count on, Jeff Welt and Daniel Ralem. Dolphins can't find offensive linemen they can count on, but you can find two lawyers you can count on in Jeff Welt and Daniel Ralem. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, personal injury, commercial litigation, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims. Call my guys, Jeff Welt and Daniel Ralem. The consultation is completely free. 954-966-4646. Manny Navarro is next.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help. After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices. We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. It's the off season, and we want to find out who are the big cheeses that are coming to Miami. Good morning, Manny. And it seems like the basketball team has got a couple of big cheeses coming to the team.
Yeah, Jai Lucas has been busy. He's got to redo the whole roster pretty much, which is the way basketball is nowadays, right? You basically have very rarely do guys stick around after a year or two, so it's a constant rotation. But he's got a couple of guys that he's got locked up. The first one that they landed this week was Malik Renal, Miami area kid who ended up playing at Montverde and ended up going to Indiana. 6'9", 233-pound, big man in the post, guy who's going to score points for you. I think started 19 games this past season, 13 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists. And then they went out and they got a point guard, it looks like, from Michigan, and Trey Donaldson, another kid from the state of Florida, Tallahassee area kid, also a senior, another guy who's kind of just, in for one last run. Helped lead Michigan, obviously, to the Sweet 16, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal game, and 37 starts. So you talk about foundation. These are the first two guys that are going to sort of be the foundation of the next season for Miami in terms of leaders, right? You got your big man, you got your point guard, and then now they're going to go out and try to find some wings and address some other positions that are necessary and add some depth. So, Jai Lucas is busy, man. He's got a lot of guys to sign here in the next few months.
And the Boozer brothers aren't really coming, right? I mean, that's just kind of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that it's like a rumor that's out there. Like, hey, could this happen? Is it possible? Yeah, I think it's possible. Is it going to happen? Is the likelihood of it happening? I mean, again, it's Duke, right? I mean, Duke's in the Final Four. That's the premier program. They're two of the best players in the country, McDonald's All-Americans, the two brothers. And I think, while you'd love for it to happen, I think the likelihood is probably slim.
All right, good stuff. All right, let's get to an O-line commitment for the Miami Hurricanes. What do we got?
Yeah, Mario talked about it yesterday at practice that, they could potentially have 4 or 5 guys he thinks that are part of this year's group that could be drafted, guys that decide to leave after year 3 or year 4. And obviously CeCe Mauinoa is the big one, right? The right tackle. He's probably going to end up being a first rounder. But there's other guys there too. And as Cooper, who needs to be replaced, you're going to have your center, James Brockermeyer, who will be gone. So the offensive line needs to be sort of rebuilt. And so they're going to take 6-7 guys potentially here in this next recruiting class. And they got 3 right now that are committed, all, talented players, 3-star recruits, not the big 5-star names. So those guys are still Miami's still pursuing those, dude. We've talked about them here on the show before. Pepe, we talked about him last week. The kid from Bradenton IMG Academy, Kenye Pepe, whose brother plays for USC, and the big offensive tackle from Missouri, who they're after. But they ended up getting this kid, JJ Sparks, out of Jacksonville Bulls. And, you know, the one thing Miami's had to do here the last few years is take a center in the transfer portal the last 3 years. Well, Mario wants to kind of start growing those guys himself. But you need guys to be ready to take that position. Center is so important because you're calling out the blitzes, you're lining up where the defense is, the middle linebacker. So they've done a good job here. SJ Alafatui, the kid they got at Bishop Gorman, is sort of the center of the future. I think JJ Sparks is the next one. He's the guy that'll come in, and once Alafatui is done with his career, 6'3", and a half, 300-pound guy, Florida State, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, UCF, Georgia Tech, all wanted him. But he's a really solid interior lineman and the kind of guy that can probably play guard as well, move over to guard, maybe play that for the first couple of years in college as Alafatui starts, and then move to center by the time he's a junior.
All right. I understand you visited the Golden Panthers.
Yeah.
So, what's going on? I know they got the spring game going on and everything.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to get a chance to talk with their new coach, Willie Simmons, today at about 2 o'clock. I spent some time talking to their athletic director, Scott Carr. People, college football, it's the have and the have-nots, right? That's basically what it's become. And if you're in a Power 4 conference, you're going to be able to, have the money to buy players and to recruit them. If you're not in a Power 5 conference, which FIU is in Conference USA, they're a G5, G6 school now. You're not going to have the money. And so they lost 11 guys that started at least 6 games for them last season to the transfer portal, including Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year, Travion Barnes, who went to Baylor. They were able to keep their quarterback. And Willie Simmons, for those of you who aren't familiar with Willie, he was at Florida A&M. He was at Prairie View A&M before that. And he has won everywhere he's been the head coach. Last year, he was with Manny Diaz at Duke. Did a phenomenal job there as the running backs coach and developing players. And basically, he had interviewed for the FIU job back in 2021 when they hired Mike McIntyre. And so Scott Carr kept his number. He's always really liked Willie, and now this is sort of an opportunity to hit the reset button at FIU and to see if they can turn things around. And Willie, look, he's hired a lot of guys that were on Mario's staff. Frank Ponce, who well, who's been on, Miami area guy, Miami High guy. This is his tight ends coach. He's one of his top recruiters. He got Edwin Pata from the University of Miami, who was the offensive line assistant coach there. Benedict Hippolyte, the running backs coach. I went over there, and it was like a reunion for me with a lot of those guys. And they all worked for Mario, and they all know what it's like to recruit. And the one thing Edwin told me this week was, the key here is you have to be a relentless recruiter. You have to be able to get guys out of this area and get them to come to FIU and play. And unfortunately, those guys end up leaving. But I think the mindset has changed at FIU, which is, hey, instead of crying about the fact that we're going to lose players every year, we're just going to keep bringing in, lower level guys, developing them, making them great players. And if they leave us, that's fine, but they help us win. And that's what Willie Simmons wants to do. He wants to win. He wants to do the best that he can. They've accepted the situation that they're in instead of just being angry and disappointed about it.
Troy State, Louisiana State, Richmond University,
all of those schools, yeah.
Appalachian State, that's what these programs are.
They're feeders.
They've had more success than FIU. And why? It's because they actually find players, they develop them, and then some of them leave or some of them actually get drafted.
Right.
And it's, like, okay, well, wow, dude, let me go check out La Tech, because they always seem to have somebody going into the draft or the Richmond Spiders or something like that. So it's interesting. There are programs like that. And so I guess FIU, if they want to have some kind of success, they're going to have to look to those kind of schools and say, we got to do it the way they do it. That's it.
And I think a lot of it is just accepting the fact that, and even telling the players that, right, when you're recruiting them, hey, why go sit on the bench for 2 years at Miami? Come here for your first 2 years. We'll play you. and we'll help you get the big NIL deal in year 3 or year 4. We're going to help, push your career along and help get you to the NFL. And it's a different.
Let me ask you something. FIU has more graduates than 40 times over than the University of Miami in South Florida.
Yeah.
There's a shit ton of people that are super successful in this town and throughout the country that studied and graduated from FIU. I'm just wondering how they have not been able to create their own collective, because damn, dude, their alumni base is enormous, man. I mean, I live with 2 of them.
Yeah. And I'm one myself. I mean, look, I think the biggest problem for FIU, and I wrote about this when I was a student there in the late 90s, Miami, University of Miami, everybody who went to FIU, think about it. They didn't have football till 2002, right? With Don Strock and those guys. So everybody grew up in this city rooting for Miami. There was no other football team in terms of college football. And so you're basically going through that phase now where Miami hasn't won national championships since 2001, since FIU's program began. And they're trying to get their act together. But the majority of people grew up Miami fans. So FIU needs to sort of have some success on its own. And look, they've had four winning seasons since they joined the FBS ranks in 2004. You're not going to develop a fan base without winning. You need an overachiever. You've been through 7 coaches now. Other than Mario and Butch, nobody else has been able to win there. So it's hard. And I think ultimately, look, you're right. There is a big group of people who care about FIU that want to see the program succeed.
Crazy, dude. Yeah, man.
But you've gone through 3 consecutive 4-8 seasons. And the last few guys, even before that, Butch, it was I mean, a disaster. And so I think
that starts above them, and that starts with Pete.
Right.
Cancer to that the athletic program. And so you've got to rid yourself of crap like that so you can actually and I understand FIU people not trusting Pete and where that program was, but if you rid yourself of that and you can build an NIL collective, dude, you're in South Florida, bro.
Yeah. Well, they're doing it. They're doing it. Scott Carr, who's the new athletic director there, took over for Pete Garcia.
Dude, by the way, I met Scott Carr. He's a good dude.
Super good dude. We spent 45 minutes on the phone yesterday talking. And look, they started the Panther Club. They didn't have that. Like you think about University of Miami, University of Florida, right? The Bull Gators, right? You've heard about those guys before. You've heard, the Golden Canes. They didn't really have that before Scott got there. So they've started this Panther Club, and they've got some individuals that are giving good amount of money. I mean, a couple years ago, they had 4 people give $500,000 each to the university to help get the athletic program going. So there are people that want to help FIU and help them get successful and win on the field, but it's a work in progress and you need results. And so Willie Simmons comes here, I think, at the perfect time. He is an overachiever. He knows how to recruit. He knows how to run a program. He's going to end up somewhere else, I think, coaching at a Power 4 school. So it's just a matter of time. But you want to ride a guy like Willie Simmons to success and overachievement and get your program off the ground. FIU just hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's a shame because, man, with that fan base, with that alumni, you would figure that they would be able to take it to the next level. They do that at the Big Cheese, by the way, whether it's the garlic rolls, whether it's the baked ziti, which I absolutely love, the fettuccine Alfredo, the sauteed chicken, all kinds of stuff. Great appetizers like fried mozzarella, the fried shrimp, the fried calamari, the beer battered sweet onion rings, which, by the way, they are very underrated there at the Big Cheese.
You're getting me hungry, yo. You get everybody hungry with this segment every time.
BigCheeseMiami.com, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. I promise you, take that friend, that family member, that loved one, that business partner, get on down there, check it out. Say hi to Gary and all the great people out there at BigCheeseMiami.com, 305-662-6855. Manny, what do you got going on in the Athletic?
Well, I'm going to have my FIU story running sometime early next week. I'll get a chance to talk to Willie Simmons this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to writing that because to me, it is interesting, right? Like how FIU just hasn't had more success having this talent base down here. So it'd be interesting to pump that story out. And there'll be more recruiting. And look, the transfer portal is going to reopen soon. There'll be movement again. There's players already entering the portal or declaring that they're entering the portal from all over the country. So we will see what Miami is looking for, and I'm sure I'll be writing about that as well.
And follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up next week. Appreciate you.
Anytime, man. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro getting it done, as always, with our Big Cheese NIL and recruiting report.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!
Thank you, as always. And remember, folks, you can make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. You can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation also, which we love that. Warms our heart when you send a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation. Ramon Martinez. Gracias. Thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. He says, good morning, my brother. Happy Friday. Nice tip, especially for Cass. Yes, sir. I actually got some Caspa yesterday. Where did it go? Where did it go today? Let me see. Where are we at with Caspa right now? Well, it's up 4.75%. Still cheap, dude. It's still at 6.5 cents right now. It is a great deal right now. Again, not a financial advisor. Okay. So, just so you'll know, not a financial advisor. Ramon and I are not financial advisors. Okay. We're just fans of Caspa. So thank you, Ramon. I appreciate you immensely. Thank you. And if you're out of town, you can also make a donation through PayPal. All right. Use the QR code there too. All right. Thank you all out there. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Okay. I'll make sure we're good. Let's get to a little música before I get back to your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of good stuff. Let's start off with musicians born on this date. All right. We go with Jill Scott, American singer, songwriter, born in 1972 on this date. Magnus Svensson, bassist with the Swedish band The Cardigans, born in this date in 72. Brother Marquise, born on my year, 1966. The rapper, Miami bass pioneer, Brother Marquise, Mark D. Ross, part of 2 Live Crew. We lost him to a heart attack last year, June 3rd, at the young age of 58. Dave Guavring, English alternative rock band The Sundays, born in 1963. Let's see. Dave Roback, born 1958 on this date, guitarist, songwriter, and producer, and founding member of Mazzy Star. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Gary Moore, rest in peace, the great Irishman, one of the greatest guitarists on the planet, and he is never mentioned because most people don't know about Gary Moore unless you are a hardcore rocker like myself. Born in 1952, the Irishman was a member of Skid Row and Thin Lizzy. As a solo artist, he just absolutely kicks some serious ass. Great guitar player. born in 52. We lost him in 2011. Rest in peace, sir. You are awesome. Pick Withers, drummer for Dire Straits, born in this date in 48. Barry Oakley, bassist with the Allman Brothers, born in 48. Dave Hill, guitarist with the English rock band Slade, born in 46. And who else? Who else do we have? Muddy Waters, the great Muddy Waters, the blues musician, born in 1913. That is musicians born on this date. Let's go with famous folk. Robert Downey Jr., a.k.a. Iron Man, is 60. And he is an Iron Man because he survived a lot of crack. Jamie Lynn Spears, TV actress, 34. Heath Ledger was born in this date in 79. We lost him in 2008. Maya Angelou, the poet, born in 28. We lost her in 2014. Let's see who else is celebrating a birthday today. Jill. Oh, I already mentioned Jill Scott with the Real Musicians. Who else? Magician David Blaine is 52. Oh, there's a female wrestler I would imagine you're going to have on your list. Natasha Lyon. She of American Pie fame. She is 46. Graham Norton, excellent host. He is 62. Harvey Elliott, futbolista. He is 22. Eric Andre, very funny actor, 42, I'm sorry. Damn, I almost gave him 10 more years, poor guy. Craig T. Nelson, the coach, is 81. God bless him. James Rode Rodriguez. Psych. He is 49. And that is it for famous folk. Sean Stanley, give us wrestlers born on this date.
Tigre Uno was born on this date. He turns 44. Tatiana Dumas, she turns 26. Matthew Mims is 33. Kerry Morton, the son of Ricky Morton, turns 24. And the greatest ever U.S. women's champion, she's protected by the Secret Service, Miss Chelsea Green. She turns 34 today. Those are your birthdays for April 4th, 2025.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's move over to music history. What happened today in Musica history? On April 4th, 2008, STP, Stone Temple Pilots, revealed that they were reuniting and heading out on tour, their first in 8 years. In 64, the Beatles held all top 5 places on the singles charts, with Can't Buy Me Love at number 1, followed by Love Me Do, Roll Over Beethoven, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and Please Please Me. They also had another 9 singles on the charts. They were pretty good, no matter what some of you think. In 81, Styx Paradise Theater, what an album, went to number 1. It became the 4th album in a row to go triple platinum, setting a new sales record. In 2004, Beck married actress Marissa Rivisi in Montecito, California. In 2003, Meatloaf announced he would be retiring from music after one more tour. His retirement didn't last. And rest in peace. In 87, U2's Joshua Tree, great album, debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200, making it the highest debut of any act since Stevie Wonder in 1980. In 1970, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Deja Vu, was the number 1 album in the country. In 2003, former Skid Row singer Sebastian Bach was fired from the touring production of Jesus Christ Superstar. The rocker, who was replaced by his understudy, vowed to return to rock and roll. And that's what happened today in music history. Whether you like it or not, that's what happened. And I hope you like it. All right? Thank you out there. Good morning to you, Stephen Harris. Okay. All right. So where are we at right now? Huh? Where's the market at right now? Bitcoin's still stuck at 83,000. It's not moving. By the way, altcoins are moving. Why? It's weird. We got like a green day right now going on. Didn't expect that because the market is down 1,481 points. S&P's down 225. The Nasdaq's down almost 3 points. Damn. Odd. But hey, I'll take it. I'm excited for the draft because it looks like that might be the highlight of the year. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The draft. Wow. Oh, man. It's hard to... I'm sorry. I don't know how many of you are where I'm at right now, but I am finding it impossible to muster any kind of enthusiasm for the Dolphins this season. I'm just like, I'm scared of the season. I'm like, damn, we're going to have another rough season, and this is coming from the guy that has made Airbnb reservations the last 2 years in whatever city. Was it Vegas and what was it last year? Arizona? Or was it Vegas last year and Arizona the year before, or whatever it was, right? I want to say I've canceled 2 Airbnbs because I'm thinking, okay, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the coach, and I'm polar opposite now. I was completely the other way. Like, okay, they've got a lot of talent on this team. Like I told you, they should have won 11, 12, 13 games this past season. And this guy couldn't do anything. And so to me, I'm sure there's a lot of you like me right now. I'm going to watch. I'm going to root. We'll talk about it like crazy. I'm afraid that I'm going to be talking about it mostly pissed off. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to get excited about a draft when I know the coach won't maximize the talent. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like I had a great safety here that they drafted, and then I end up losing him as a fan because the coach doesn't get along with him. And then we draft another guy that actually looked good too, but then he had some injuries the last couple of years, and now we lost him, and now we don't have either guy. This is so Dolphins. And I was telling Ash and Lou this yesterday when I was on their show that it's just the turnovers of coaching, head coaches and assistant coaches, has been so detrimental to the growth of this team. When you can hire the right staff and you constantly have turnover, it affects your personnel. And Miami has done a magnificent job of screwing themselves constantly by not hiring the right personnel, and then turnover after turnover forces turnover of players. Just frustrating. Very frustrating. And I don't know how to build up enthusiasm for the Dolphins unless they feed me like substance, that they start beating good teams and that they start winning games that matter and all that kind of stuff. That's the only way. I can only get excited about Dolphins football if they actually do something that matters. Then it's an after the fact type of excitement. I'll watch because I love them to death. But I'm literally sitting there expecting absolutely nothing. And I don't know how many of you feel that way, but that's how I feel. Razzle Dazzle Crypto says, I'm more worried about the D-line than Greer is. Spin-off from last year. I like that Razzle Dazzle Crypto. Ray says, it's hard for me as a fan for decades, and we are stuck with a wedding planner coach. It's terrible. It's terrible, Ray. So, yeah, I saw that Moran was fired $75,000 for his gesture. His gun gesture. Moron. What are you going to do? All right, folks. So we got the Heat tomorrow night taking on Milwaukee. Get back in the win column. We got the Panthers tomorrow afternoon taking on the Senators. Okay. Tomorrow night, we've got Fort Lauderdale United at the Tampa Bay Sun. And then Sunday night at Chase Stadium, we've got Inter Miami and Toronto. So we've got a lot of action this weekend. I can't wait to check it all out. I appreciate all of you out there. We thank Ira Winderman. We thank Manny Navarro. We thank David Furones. If you missed any of those, you can rewind. Sean will be posting all of them and any other rants and all that kind of good stuff. Appreciate Sean as always. We thank our amazing sponsors. And we thank all of you for tuning in. Smash the hell out of that like button, please. If you can make a donation to help us get to Spain, we'd appreciate it immensely. We're way behind. So whenever they do make that announcement, we'd like to try to get that in place. So if you can help us, we'd appreciate it immensely. We'll see you Monday morning. Same time, same place, same bat channel.